Hey, Shalom. All praises go to the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Bashem Adawakwadash, double honor sent to the elder apostles at Great Millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the Sensei came across the world. Shalom. Right. So I've been dabbling a little bit left and right concerning, just traveling information. I'm not traveling by physical, just the internet. So I came across a group which they call themselves like Creole, Louisiana Creoles. Never knew about these motherfuckers. And I see some dumb shit going on around there, and that shows me because it's like in the spirit, man. Because I was busy with First Kings and stuff like that. That's where you first see where the northern tribes and the southern tribes actually split from each other, because it's the curse of the Heavenly Father anyway, First and foremost, it's Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that did it. But you know what's funny to me? I understand it, man. Look, I understand through the spirit, man. And it could actually come boil down to like, the Most High just ain't with you then, if you if you hating on the other tribes because of their looks, because that's the majority of the shit that's going on is the looks. Because that group over there, the Louisiana, New Orleans motherfuckers, Creoles, whatever the fuck, man. They're hating on others that basically they call you a Hamite, man. They call you African and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't say Hamite, but they say, hey, you're African and don't come around here, and basically like that. And yeah, you need to be of French descent and Spanish descent. I'm like, what the fuck, conquistador shit? Hey, that shit is very heavy around these people, and I never knew about that group. I know them Latin tribes do that shit, but I didn't know those motherfuckers did it. But I've been against house Negroes for the longest, man. Even before on camera, man. But I don't really speak about the Latin tribes. I talk about them, but I talk about their bullshit that they're doing. But the majority that I get on is the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man. Like the hate that they got between themselves and the hate that they got for themselves. That's majority what that I am known of myself, maybe to others, that I speak about. But it's getting broader and broader, and you start learning more and start learning more. But since all of that is being discovered by me, I should say, I want to go up in then therefore the breakdown, the explanation of how. So it's not a breakdown. The Bible itself explains to you what is actually happening between the northern tribes and the southern tribes, and because in the midst of the northern, in the midst of the southern tribes, you had inmonks fighting amongst themselves, the light skin versus the dark skin. That I've been on that, so I know about that. And of course, the Latin tribes, they hating, but they collectively hating toward the dark skinned ones and the woolly haired ones, but they hating collectively amongst themselves too, also for the skin color and hair texture. So yeah, I've been on that for a while, a long time. I'll tell you that. Like I said before, this truth, I always hated that shit. If you come around me with them little funky jokes, I don't do that shit, man. I don't do that shit. Look, I can mock people. I can bully people. I don't do that shit. It's not really, especially if I call you, like a person that I don't want to offend. So-called friend, whatever, those words. If I call you that, I'm not going to say dumb shit like that, man. But you do have these mammals that they will say it. And I always check them. And you know what the funny thing is? If you don't check them, and they're going to try and, assert their dominance over you by making you feel less than them. I always say something. I will. Because I ain't down with that shit. But they are. So you got to build up a wall of hatred for yourself in order to, it's not just protect yourself, it's defend yourself. Defend is when you do something back. Protect is when you hold dear, you know. But defend, you say something back. You defend yourself, like you're defensive. Right, but anyway. Let me get a few scriptures to show you that Yahweh Ratazah, he is the one that put that animosity between Judah and Benjamin. Sorry. Well, Judah and Benjamin fight each other too, because they talk a lot of shit too. You know, but most of the people that actually have something against the so-called blacks in America, most of them down there in South America, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But anyway, so it says right here. Oh shit. So it says right here on 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 17. But as for the children of Israel, which dwell in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. So when the split happened, you had a few Israelites of the northern tribes. You had a lot of them that was already living in the midst of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Levi came later. It's simultaneously. It was it's at the same time. It happened at the same time, but it was a progress. And I'm gonna read it. I'll read it to you. So 1 Kings 11. Sorry, 1 Kings 12 and 20. Now I just read the verse 17. So it says right here, 1 Kings 12 and 20. And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. So only the Judites, they followed the bloodline of David. That's the house of David. The house of David is Rehoboam. Everybody else that is not of the bloodline of David, you are not of the house of David. So we cling on to the house of David, and so will Israel also, because it's in the scriptures. I think in Jeremiah 31 or Zechariah 11, that eventually they will gravitate toward the bloodline of David. They will gravitate toward them. Now, when you say the tabernacle of David, that's the 12 tribes. The tabernacle of David. Those are his tents. Because tabernacle means basically it goes into tent. But the tabernacle in the scriptures was where the Ark of the Covenant was in. But Lord willing, I'll get into that. So let me read this right here. So it says, and it came to pass, so 1 Kings 12 and 20. Because what I wanted to say is, because I know how it looks. If I was to get hard on the Latin tribes, they're going to be like, hey, he's racist. Whatever, man. That's why I stay on the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because I look like them. So if I say something racist toward them, which I don't do, but I don't do skin color shit. I don't do that shit. You know, cuss a person out for his skin. I don't do that unless you hate that. Then I'm hateful too. But other than that, I don't do that shit, man. I just want to harm you, because you're trying to offend me. I'm not offended. Man, I'm not offended. Just because, for example, just because you fight for something doesn't mean you offended me. It means you angers me. It's a difference. Offended is, it kind of the same, almost. But I'm not offended. I'm angry. If you look down on me, I look down on you. Anyway. That's why I don't get on them too much. Because like I said, it's gonna look racist. It's gonna look like you know what I'm saying? I don't do that. I speak about it though. I let them know that side. But even then, people be still looking at me like, why are you gonna talk about that then? So you just want that shit to slide. And I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna say something. Fuck out that shit. I'm gonna say something. Like, hey. But anyway, let me finish this off. Verse 20, and it came to pass. Verse 21. So it's 1 Kings, chapter 12. Sorry, man. Verse 21. So it says right here, and when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin. Motherfucker! I knew I shouldn't have two hands loose, and I am. let me hold one hand, man. Hold one hand. It's windy than a mother buster out here. Damn. Whoa, that was crazy. Let me just hold one hand on this one right here. Right, so it says right here, right? And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, which, like I said, is the house of David. And you can get that also in the book of, I think, Luke 2, I think. Luke 2 and 4. Yeah, 4. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, which Galilee is in Naphtali, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David. So it shows you right there. Just like how John the Baptist was of the house and lineage of Aaron, along with his mother. Same thing with Yahushua. His father and his mother were of the same father. And John the Baptist, his father and his mother were of the same father, was of the same forefather, which is Levi. And therefore the Most High used crazy. The Most High used the Levite in order to clear the path and the way for the Judite, in order for him to be the high priest. That's crazy. The bloodline of the high priest came out and made the way for the high priest from Judah. So that's crazy. Because that's how it normally went. It was the priest or the high priest that would come and bless the king, anoint the king or something like that, you know? Stuff like that. Right. So it says right here. Alright, 1 Kings 12 and 22. But the word of Yahweh came to Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, I should my music is on, sorry. So the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai came to the prophet, right? Shemaiah, the man of Yahweh, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brother with the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to go and kill them and force them to listen to Judah, the bloodline of David. They wanted to force them to listen to them, but they didn't. And the tribe of Benjamin was right there with them too. Sorry, as I read it already in verse 21, and it might have flew over your head. So I'm gonna read it again. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 21. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, which were the northern tribes, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. So what did they want to do? They wanted to go and fight them and force them to follow after the house of David. Verse 24. So 1 Kings 12:24. Thus saith Yahweh, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. So he's the one that wanted them to actually buck up toward each other, because he cursed them already because of King Solomon. Because he said, I will not rent the house from you for your father David's sake. That shows you how special David was. You know, King David. I will not do it for your sake, for his sake, but I will rip it from your son Rehoboam, which his mother was an Ammonite. And his mother started to worship their gods, their deities and stuff like that. And Rehoboam, his son, which is I think his grandson, he took her away, he kicked her out from being queen, you know. But that's another story. So it says right here, yeah, because I just talked about that, because Tobit chapter 4 verse 12 speaks about you're supposed to stick to your own tribe or your own nation actually. But King David had Issachar wife. King Solomon had the royal bloodline went through the Ammonite woman because he Rehoboam, his mother. So it's not 100% a big deal. So, but yeah, but it's still a thing that I need to talk about it because it's in the scriptures. But is it a deal closer or something like that? No, we in a messed up situation right now to where a lot of our people don't know what is what and who is who. So, you know, we pass through that. I ain't got a big problem with that. But you need to teach your damn kids, because they are damn kids, man. If they start like them Louisiana Creoles and stuff like that, they glorify the Spanish, man. You need to be of Spanish blood and of French blood in order to call yourself Creole. Like look, listen. When we talk about Creoles and stuff like that, we mean only black people. So when I heard that shit over there, I'm like, Creoles. So I clicked on it. I saw the word Creoles, Louisiana Creole. So I clicked on it. I know Mia X and stuff like that, you know, New Orleans. I love those people, you know. But they didn't talk about it like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I know, like, there's different sections, man. There's different sections in every type of culture, man. You got. How can I explain it? For example, you got the Puerto Ricans and stuff like that in New York, and then you got them them Latinos and stuff like that in because it's not just Puerto Ricans. You got them Latinos in the Latin-speaking tribes in LA. Yeah, they're not the same, man. Because when I looked at the ones of LA, I'm like, yeah, that's them. I know those types. But then you look at the ones in New York, and since I was young, man, I saw that shit. I was like, huh? They're friendly with each other over there. You know, they're not friendly. They're not friendly in South America like that. Not like that. They got a lot of shit to say within their own families too. If a dark one pop up, you know, they're gonna talk shit about it. Your own family members. That's why I don't like these people. I don't. You can make me. But like I said, but then of course I learned the other ones. I know about them here too, but it doesn't have like a big impact. It does have a big impact when it's projected across the world, because then people are going to associate themselves with this or with that one. For example, the East-West Coast war that was going on between Biggie and Pac, it wasn't even an East and West Coast thing. Pac said it. It was a Biggie versus them thing, like Bad Boy versus whatever. And then the whole fucking world started to do the West Coast and East Coast thing, because I grew up in that era, man. I was on I'm telling you, I'm bugged out. I was on the West Coast type tip, man. And I didn't like it. That shows you how fucking stupid. But that's why I understand when something like that happens. Like, I'm too old for me to get influenced by that dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that, if I could have thought like that, I know the younger ones, they all, you know what I'm saying? They in that dimension. So that's why it's kind of irritating. Not kind of. It's irritating when I see stuff like that, because I know the younger ones are gonna pick sides too, just like I did. Just like I did. I picked West because I was on the Pac side, and I didn't like, man. Like I said, didn't like people from the East. But that shows you what type of things it could create. You know, that's what it could create. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me go back to where I was actually. That whole thing about like certain sections and stuff like that. The whole thing about the Louisiana Creoles, I never heard of that shit, man. Creoles, that you need to be of Spanish and French descent. So you know they. I showed you that video where they talk shit about dark skinned people. They call her a Haitian, or they call her a Black American. That should show you, man. That should show you. That's why I think, like, hey, man. And like I said, I've been on these House Jacob descendants and stuff like that. I've been on them, right? But you learn every time you go out there and check out stuff and stuff. You learn more, man. And then you get to hate more. I get to hate more. But anyway, let me read on. So it says here. First Kings chapter 12, verse where was I? Man. 24. You shall not go up, thus saith Yahweh. You shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is of me. They hearkened therefore unto the word of Yahweh, and returned to depart, according to the word of the Most High Yahweh. Why? Because that's of Yahweh, Pasha, and I understand that, man. I understand I don't understand that, but it's only in the scriptures I understood it. You know what I'm saying? So since 2012, I understood it. You know, you need to learn this stuff and stuff like that. Because I always knew that they was so-called black people. I always knew that shit. You know? But hey, you could be darker than me, man. Because if you do some dumb shit, I'm gonna talk to you about it, man. You know? Because I don't care about nothing. Because the most people that I've been around was like, you know, people on my own, Curacao, Antilles and stuff like that. I'm not around the Arubans and the other Caribbeans like that. Because I know better. I know better. I have a few sprinkled among them, you know, that I could call cool cat. We, you know, we love each other like that. We real people, you know. We do stuff. But I do know that I ain't going to your house because I know they're gonna talk some shit like, hey, why you, you know? So I ain't doing that because I don't want to cuss out your mother. Why would I do that? That's disrespectful. So I'd rather stay at your house, you know. Or they tell you like, hey, don't come pick me up. You know, wait around the corner or something like that. But when you're young, you kind of, you're not really thinking about it, and you're laughing too. But when you're older, you be thinking like, God damn, there's some fucking conquistador type fucking spirit. You know, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Now I know it's Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But yeah, let me go on because it is raining. I don't know if I should go stand over there. I hope the rain passes through. But yeah, let me go on, man. So, 1 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 3. And in Jerusalem dwelt the children of Judah and the children of Benjamin and the children of Ephraim and Manasseh. So, like I said, even in the scriptures, it shows you that you will have a view of the northern tribes. That even when we was in the world, you know, you still cool cat with them. You know what I'm saying? You fight with them. Yeah, I mean, against other motherfuckers and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, man. I just know that, you know, they're going to back you up. If somebody says something like of their own people, if they say something, man, you know, they're liable to get smacked or something like that, you know, and then you fight with them, like, you know, on the side. So, but anyway, let me see. So here is 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 13. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him out of all their coasts. They resorted to Rehoboam, which is the house of, I think I'm gonna go stand over there, man. Yeah, man, I'm making it harder for myself for no reason. Let me just stand over here, man. Let that rain pass. Okay, let me focus on the scriptures, because now I can see better, because the screen ain't wet. Can't see shit. All them drops and stuff like that. Right. 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 13. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him out of their coasts. Verse 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possessions and came to Judah and Jerusalem, which is Judah and Benjamin, because Benjamin was in Jerusalem and Judah was there also, but as ruler in Jerusalem itself, the city, but the land was given unto, as an inheritance, was given unto Benjamin. So it says, and Judah's main quarters was actually Hebron. That's why King David, he ruled in Hebron for about 7 years, and then in Jerusalem for 33 years, if I'm correct. That's in, I think, 2 Samuel 5. Anyway, 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possessions and came to Judah and Jerusalem. For Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh. So why does it say the priests and the Levites? That's because the priests are Levites, but not all the Levites are priests. Because the tribe of Aaron, the bloodline of Aaron, the house of Aaron, those were the priests and those only. Now you had the Levites that was doing works and stuff like that, but the Levites, they couldn't do certain works because they would be put to death. They would die. And that is in the Numbers 18, Exodus 28. Let me see. All right, Numbers 3, First Chronicles 23, Numbers 1, Leviticus 8, Exodus 29 also, and Exodus 28, Numbers 18, Leviticus 16. But I did a video about it anyway, so yeah, I just quote what the scriptures that I pulled before. I think it's 2-3 videos before this. It's in first the video that I did about First Kings. You know, just to explain stuff, because it's all about the understanding. Because if you have the understanding of the scriptures, then you know the history. Then it's going to explain a lot of things, man. It's going to explain a lot of things, right? Because it's not just about the present time. Because if you understand where you're coming from, then you understand where you're going toward. And therefore, it is a great thing to just go over the scriptures, man. Because when you go to a store to buy a book, you don't buy a book that has 100 pages, but you don't buy the book and then you say, okay, you can cut off or away the first 60 pages and then just give me the last 40 pages because I want to know how the story ends. That's what you're doing when you only deal with the New Testament. You need to deal with the whole book. And okay. So in Second Chronicles chapter 11, that's where you see that the Levites, they were kicked out of their places amongst the 12 tribes, which is mentioned in the book of Joshua 21 and also the book of Numbers 3. But Joshua 21, there it goes a little bit more in detail concerning where specifically the bloodlines of the 3 Levites were, which is Kohath, Merari, and I forgot the other one. Anyway, the 3 sons of the Levi. Right. So, Second Chronicles 11 and 2. Yeah, 2 and 4. But the word of Yahweh came to Shemaiah, the man of Yahweh, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Israel in Judah and Benjamin. So again, you had the northern tribes that didn't cling onto Jeroboam. They didn't cling onto him. They clinged onto the house of I'm being distracted, sorry. They clinged unto the house of Rehoboam, sorry. They clinged unto the house of David. Verse 4. So again, 2 Chronicles 11 and 4. Thus saith Yahweh, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of Yahweh, and returned from going against Jeroboam. Because like I said, they wanted to fight against him. So, this is where the beginning of the animosity starts between the house of Jacob, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. There's where it started to begin, The kingdom of Judah versus the kingdom of Israel. That's where it started. Right. Because the kingdom of Israel didn't want to be underneath the kingdom of Judah. And also because the kingdom of Judah, Rehoboam, he was harsh toward them. Well, King Solomon was harsh. And then Rehoboam said, I will basically double what my father gave unto you. And then the northern kingdom was like, oh hell no, man, fuck that shit, man. We're gonna break free from you, and we're gonna fight you. That's what they said. All right, so it says right here, man. I already read that. Okay, Second Chronicles 11 and 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possessions, and came to Judah and Jerusalem, for Jeroboam and his sons cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh. 15. And he ordained him priests for the high places, and for the devils, and for the calves which he had made. Verse 16. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem. See? Again, another big bulk of the northern tribers that came to live in the midst of Judah and Benjamin, because they wanted to worship Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, and they looked at the northern tribers, they was like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with you. So they came to live with Judah and Benjamin. And like I said, I personally know that, man. I know that you have amongst them, this is like back in the world, man, and it's still today, but now I understand what's going on. That doesn't mean that I'm not angry, okay? That doesn't mean that. But my anger is with understanding, you know? But still, I'm still looking at that shit like, how the fuck you gonna fight for the caucus? I say that shit to house Negroes all the time. But to the Latin tribes, I don't get that shit, man. I get it, but I don't get it. I'm like, why are you fighting for them? Why are you taking it up for them? Why you want to be them? But then I understand also that you have weak-minded people. If you can't beat them, join them. I talk about this often concerning the house Negroes, man. They so weak. They got their ears raped so hard, their hair turned straight, man. You know? They weak, man. They join forces with them because they can't beat them. So they start worshiping them and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, they don't worship the Moabites, though. They got that same hair. They don't worship the other motherfuckers. They don't do that. They don't worship Arabs unless they go to Islam or something like that. But loose from that, they just go with the winners, man. And I also talk about this one here concerning the Judites, man. I'll show you something. Because you had this shit going on since the Philistines' times, man. It's, what's it again? Which is in, oh shit. First Samuel, First Samuel 14:21. Again, with if you can't beat them, join them. And this is since back then, man. You know. So it says right here, 1 Samuel 14 and 21. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, before Saul, you know, he got the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai with his son Jonathan, and then they started to fight against the Philistines that had rulership over us at that point in time. If you read the book of 1 Samuel chapter 14, you will see. They were so afraid of the Jacob descendants that they banned blacksmiths. It doesn't say blacksmiths, but that's what it's called now. But they banned smiths from being in the land of Israel, the whole land, because they didn't want them to have weapons. That's the same thing that Esau does right now with his own people. Actually, he wants to grab the guns from the common folks, so that when he comes in, it's like taking candy from a baby, like some straight up coward shit. But then again, yeah, I don't know. There's no cheating in war. Whatever, man. He does it fucking filthy, but hey, he's winning, right? But yeah, there's actually kind of no cheating in war, like war crimes. He is a fucking war criminal by design. But he's always talking about war crimes that others did. What did you do? What did you do? You trick people into thinking like you're a friend. And then you come with the cavalry. First, he introduces like the friendly ones, you know? and then they go and learn and live with the Native Americans for 5 years. Some of them actually were friendly until it was time for the cavalry to come. And after he learned everything, and told the other people like, yeah, they learned me about everything I need. They taught me all of their tricks. Then the cavalry would come and exterminate them. So, just because they're friendly and stuff like that, don't mean you need to trust them. And just because one is your friend, doesn't mean that the 999 others are your friend too. Why don't you go to their barbecue or whatever the hell they have? You're gonna find out that there's gonna be family members there that don't like you. Same thing with the tribes. He might like you, but his sister or his brother or his mother, a lot of times it's their goddamn mother. They don't like you, and the mother is the head of the household. So they so they will tell you like, man, don't pick me up here, pick me up over there, or let's meet over there. And back in the days, we didn't have telephones, so in order to pick someone up to go play outside, you would have to ring the bell. You can't ring the bell. Can't ring the bell there, because the parents are going to keep him in. He's going to get punished for hanging around you. And the West Africans did it with me too, with the slave descendants. The West Africans, they're teaching their kids that they're hanging around slave descendants. They teach them. So I know about them too. So it's actually both sides, man. You got the Latin speaking tribes that do that shit, and you got the West African people that do that shit too. So basically we in the middle of it all, man. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't got no problem with that. I didn't grow up traumatized with that shit. I grew up having a mind of hey, fuck you too. But yeah, like I said, the scriptures explains a lot of things. So, but that doesn't mean I'm not angry. Let me read it again, sorry. 1 Samuel 14:21. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp from the countries round about, even they also returned to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Jonathan, because they started to win. Because the Philistines had us in captivity, so, whatever they told us to do, we had to do. And then, in order to break free from that, you would join the military. They did that shit in Suriname too. The Dutch did it. How? You had the Maroons, right? The Maroon Israelites, right? They broke away free from the Dutch plantations in Suriname. But the other motherfuckers, they stayed because they wasn't that tough or strong or, that's what I said. There's a lot of, you have weak-minded people, man. They see something, they want to follow it too. And then you have others that be like, no, I don't follow that shit, man. It's not my style. And you have others that don't follow it, but they don't hate it neither. It's just like, it's not my type, So you have different tastes and stuff like that. But the weaker-minded ones, they will follow. And what did they do? They, in order for them not to get whipped by the Dutch slave masters, what did they do? They joined the military for the Dutch slave masters to fight against the Maroons that came to liberate them, man. That's some crazy fucking shit right there, man. Damn. Some crazy shit right there. But like I said, I understand when people are weak-minded, man. It's like most of the time, right? You have groups, and then they establish like a bunch of bitches, right? They're established, and they are on they're feeling themselves like in a hierarchy type situation, right? Even in school, at the jobs and stuff like that, you have a group that they know each other and they, make jokes with each other, and then everybody that's fresh and new, they're gonna try bullshit pranks on them. Not just pranks, I mean like jokes, say shit, slick shit, that they, it's fucking irritating. But yeah, that's what's going on around it. You could call it bullying or whatever the fuck they call it, but you have those type of things that are going on. And then, yeah, the weak-minded ones, they're trying to join them, man. They're trying to join them, and just not to get bullied. I fucking hate that shit. But yeah, I know certain minds exists. That's why I always want to help people like that, but yeah. But anyway, so again, 1 Samuel 14:21. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp from the country round about, even they also turned to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Jonathan. Right. Like I said, you have a lot of people that, if you can't beat them, join them, and they have that type of mentality, and then they go be with them. And then when the winning team comes, then they want to be with the winning team again. You have people like that. So I understand that. I saw that in this world. It's a generational thing. It's a continual thing. It's like the world. it's like the world exists and they exist too. That's just what it is, man. And therefore, when you have, for example, scriptural things, and you teach certain things, you're teaching lies. You're gonna destroy a lot of those type of people. Yeah, they're weak-minded, but the blood needs to be gotten off your hands, man, for what you did. You let these dummies follow you. They're dummies. I see it. They're dummies. They follow you. They follow bullshit. I see that shit. But that don't mean that you shouldn't be punished for it. They're gonna die. Yeah. You need to be tortured for that shit, man. Because you should see victims. You should see them, man. That's why you have these scammers. They know exactly who to scam, man. They scam these gullible people. And they'll follow. But anyway. Okay, so Zechariah chapter 11, verse 14. I'll read 2 Chronicles 11 and 16 again. So it says, 15. And he ordained him priests for the high places, and for devils, and for the calves which he had made. He made the other people priests instead of the Levites, and that was against the law, and that is a death sentence right there. Because when the Israelites came out of Babylon, they couldn't find their bloodline among the registry of the Levites, the Aaron actually, and then they couldn't determine who was a bloodline of Aaron and who was just the other Levite. So they were put away from doing the priest office work. It was put away from doing that, the priest's office, right? Luke chapter 1 talks about it. So that shows you that you need to be of that bloodline in order for you to do that work, the priest work, or else, you could die, or a curse would come upon you, like in Malachi chapter 2, for example. If the priests don't teach the law, they get cursed, but that's kind of something else. But still, let me go on. 2 Chronicles 11:15. Already read that. 16. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh, power of their fathers. It's like I said, you have sprinkled here and there Latin tribers that loose from this truth. They will always call themselves, no, I'm black, man, I'm black. No, fuck it. I love that shit, man, because it shows you that, it's just dope. It's just dope. I like that shit. But anyway, I also know the other motherfuckers that, I see that shit, be like, okay, cool, you with the caucus stuff. Because I remember that song from Run DMC, Down with the King. You see, Down with the King. Yeah, you down with the caucus. Yeah, see? Zechariah 11 and 14. Then I cut asunder my other staff, even bands. Staff is for support, stability, something that you lean against or lean on. It's for support. Even bands is when you get together or tied up. That Esau likes to say a tight-knit community. Fuck that bullshit, man. But it's funny because it came in my head. Anyway, bands is a troop also. You get together, like bandits, for example. But there's no honor among these. But I mean, like, a group of people that are together. And also tithe. You're tithe. Like prisoners. Sorry. Damn, I can't let go. So I don't know when the wind is gonna fall down my can. Understand it, actually. Right, Zechariah. I just read that. Sorry, Zechariah 11:14. Then I cut asunder my other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. That's that brotherhood that left. But I believe to the Spirit, all the shit that I like, the people that I know from the northern tribes and stuff like that. I don't know what thing I am. I don't care about that. I'm not into that shit. But I do know what I look like, and I know that they just revealed what I look like. So I go off of that. But anyway, I'll go over that. In the Spirit, I have my ideas, but it doesn't matter, bro. I'm a Jacob descendant. That's what I know. Slave descendant, straight up. I don't give a shit about what the fuck. Give a shit about that shit. Anyway, I do know that you have some of them Latin-speaking people, you know, that I always knew, like, hey, these brothers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that was straight back in the world. And now through the scriptures, I'm thinking, like, you might be one of them descendants that came from, you know, that looked at Jeroboam, was like, man, choo. And then he came to Rehoboam, man. That's what I think. I have all these imaginations, so doesn't matter. But that's what I think. You one of them descendants, because the scripture says, like, you know, you're going to return in your lot. So you're going to have, you know, prophets turn back to prophets and stuff like that. Certain so-called important people, they come back and they are in the position of the importance that they had back then. So, and Yahushua said that, you know, he said that in the book of John 6, he said, I save you now so that in the last days I will resurrect you. Something to that effect. Let me get it for you, because it says John 6, if I'm correct. 6. Don't fall now. I'm really looking at that shit. John 6:39. It says, and and this is the Father's will, which so John 6:39 and also 40. And this is the Father's will, which had sent me, that of all which he had given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again in the last day. So all the believers there, 2,000 something years ago, 26, something like that. And until now, right? So it says, verse 40, and this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son, believeth on it, may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up in the last day. So, everybody that he talked to back then, and he said, that, you know, that he said the words to, that he spoke toward, in their faces and stuff like that, and that believed, even when they didn't see him, and that believed in him. Every last single individual one of them, he said, let me read it again, 39 and 40. So John 6:39 and 40. And this is the Father's will which had sent me, that of all which he had given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him, even the ones that didn't see him, because he was talking to a church, about a church, and he said, and woman, it's not just church, but he was talking to individuals. Damn, I have not seen a greater belief in all of Israel, because those see me and you didn't even see me, and you believe more. So, you know, you had others that didn't see him. Well, you know, he saw the woman, obviously, and then he said, great is thy belief. I have not found a greater belief in all Israel. Yeah, that one he did see, but you had others that didn't see him, and they believed also, you know? That's why Yahushua said, blessed is the man that has not seen, but has believed. Because you didn't see it, and you still believe. That's in the book of Matthew somewhere. Blessed is the man that had not seen and yet believed. But anyway, so verse 40, so John 6 and 40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So, at the last day, they're going to be raised up, man. So, basically, the ones that believed 2,000 something years ago are the same ones that will believe now. So therefore, I have my little ideas and stuff like that. All the people that I know that was just cool cat, they would go against their parents. They would go against their parents' will, I should say, by still hanging around with me, playing little fucking kids, man. Like, what crime have we done? We didn't do shit. What did 9 years, 11, 10? What the fuck you doing? You ain't pulling on bank robberies and shit like that, smoking dope, shooting up heroin. Don't do that shit, man. It's just kids, man. But they don't want you to play with their kids, though. Your skin color might rub off on them. That's for them. But then you had the West Africans. They'd be like, nah, you that slave mentality, or I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Well, slave descendants. They don't want you to hang around them. They don't want you to hang around. Let me go back to where I was, right? It says right here. Okay, let me read it again for the finishing off. 2 Chronicles 11:16. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, which are the northern tribes, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, the power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh power of their fathers. So like I said, I'm going to say it again, sorry for the repeating and stuff like that. You always had those type of people that would still, of the northern tribes, that would still be like, oh hell no, man, I ain't down with them. I'm down with the flesh. But whatever, man. I just say it like that. Okay. Amos chapter 9 verse 2, 11. Now this is what's happening right now, man. Y'all write this out. And me personally, look, I have it on camera. Everything that I'm saying, you could find it. I don't know where it is, but if you have seen it of me, then you know, like when I came up in this truth, there was not a lot of, not that I noticed, I didn't see it. There was not a lot of the Latin-speaking tribes and stuff like that. And when they started to come up, I was actually happy. I was making videos about it. So I know myself, I like that shit, man. I know myself, you know what I'm saying? So, but this is happening again, and I saw it back then, but it's happening more now. I'm not really paying attention to the groups anymore, so I don't really know what's really going on. I have my own things that I'm focused on. Yahweh wrote this out, which is just scriptural things. Let's focus on scriptures. Basically, two things I'm doing. Yahweh wrote this out, watch the news from time to time. That I don't even really do. I'm just on the internet watching those type of news, you could say. Not the commercial news. Sometimes commercial news is good because you hear things that I normally don't hear. So it's good. It's good. But I don't focus on that one. So I focus more on the YouTube news and the Rumble news and the BitChute news. But anyway, Amos 9:11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. Those breaches were actually very thick and heavy in the time of the book of Judges. The book of Judges, you had the breaches that, because the Most High said, let me get that for you. Judges 21 and 15. And the people repented for Benjamin, because that Yahweh had made a breach in the 12 tribes of Israel. So that's that breach that has been, wait, let me read it again now. Not that one. Amos 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. That's that breach. So let me read the breach again, which is Judges 21:15. And the people repented for Benjamin, because they was all fighting against Benjamin for their little Sodom and Gomorrah type trick that they did. And then defending them too. They was really defending them. Yeah. Protecting and defending. Yeah. Judges 21:15. And the people repented them for Benjamin. Why? Because Yahweh made a breach in the tribes of Israel. So that's that breach. So again, Amos 9:11. And in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. That means the war that we have within each other. The Most High is going he's going to breach that up, fix it up. Sorry. He's going to fix the breaches up. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. That's when the 12 tribes was together. You know what I'm saying? The 12 tribes was together. The house of Benjamin, clinged out to Judah, of course the Levites, but I was thinking about the 12 tribes. The 10 tribes, sorry. Ephraim and all these other tribes and stuff like that would cling on to Judah. You did have Benjamin trying to fight him too, but that's another case. You had multiple Benjamins after Saul. But I forgot their names, man. But anyway, Acts 15 and 16. After this will I return and build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. And I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up. And that's what we're seeing right now. Like I said, I've been seeing it for a while, especially in the 2010, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and stuff like that. I saw it there. But yeah, that's what the Most High is doing, man. Bringing the breaches. Fixing the breaches that we have in the midst of ourselves. Right. So it says right here. So it says right here. What's that? Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe all and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So the Most High would make it to where there would be no equality of us. Like we, as a nation of Jacob, we wouldn't be equal with anybody else. Everybody else would be beneath us, right? Beneath us, right? But that's not the case right now, because a lot of our people, in the midst of themselves, they want to have other Jacob descendants beneath them, like that Louisiana Creole group. They want you to be beneath them. They've been talking against house Negroes for fucking decades, bro. Don't like them. Don't want to be mingled around them. I hate their fucking guts, man. I hate their goddamn guts. Because they want to elevate themselves. And it's irritating. It's always about skin color and hair texture for these monkeys. It's always about that shit. How close they are to the caucus and shit like that. It's fucking irritating. But Most High is gonna get rid of that. And he's gonna make it to where they're gonna know. They're gonna have their head down. Oh yeah, let me get that one. They're gonna have their head down, man. I think it's Ecclesiastes 12, if I'm correct. Or was it Daniel? What's it again? What's it again? I forgot what it was, man. Is it Daniel 12? I'm sorry. I'm looking for it. Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of Israel, thy people, children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as was, sorry, let me read it again. So it says here, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book of life, which is the scriptures. But you have also, for example, King David. Until this day, he's talked about. That's like that's more 3,000-4,000 years ago. 3,000 years ago, something like that. 3,000 years ago. He's still talked about until this day. So he's forever memorialized. But majority of the wicked people, look, people forget people. That's why you gotta need that's why Esau, he has to continually talk about Hitler, or else people are gonna forget it, because they want to keep it in your head like that shit is real. That's why they gotta mention it so many times, because people forget shit. What's the last time here in Europe that I know of? Right? What's the last time, especially in the Netherlands? You don't hear conversations about the COVID. You don't hear that shit. That shit doesn't exist. And ain't nobody talking about it. Because people forget, especially when they're doing good. They forget about the bad times. And when it's bad times, they forget about the good. Or not 100%, but they reminisce about the good, want to have the good times back and stuff like that. For example, America's falling, right? the empire is falling. Man, you see a lot of people reminiscing on how it used to be. I love that shit, man. Because you can see him bitching and crying about, man, you used to be better. Fucking hilariously, man. Take balm for her. If it may be, she may be healed. But she ain't gonna be. Because it's already fallen. Anyway, Daniel 12 and 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. The dust of the earth is the confusion, because a lot of people are in darkness and stuff like that. And then the dust in your eyes, you can't see shit. When you're in a fight and somebody throws some dust in your eye, hey, if it hits your eyes and stuff like that, you go, oh. And that's about the time that you're going to get really violently attacked. Well, if you're in this world and you got dust in your eyes, you're going to celebrate flying reindeers, man. Bunnies that lay eggs. And then you're going to, that's the diabolical. That's why I mention it so much. That's one of the diabolical things that comes with it, because they're going to say that those two feast days are associated with the Bible. That's why I mention it so often. People might be like, what do you think all the time? Yeah, you heard, and then you go, it's normal to you now because you heard it. I'm like a broken record that needs to be keep on repeating stuff. That's how you get stuff in your head. Esau does it all the time, but he doesn't tell you what he's doing. He's repeating stuff in order for you to get it. And even if you don't get it, you're gonna know about it, because they're gonna repeat the shit out of that thing. And it's irritating. But he does it because he knows how the human psyche works, how the mind works. They know. They've been doing studies. They spend billions upon studying of people and stuff like that, So they know about it. Like a song that you hate, but they play it so often that when you in the showers in the morning or something like that, you start humming that song. And hey, what the hell? And then you start figuring out, like, hey, what did I just do? That's because that thing is in your mind. It's in your mind. But anyway, Daniel 12 and 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Some, they're going to wake up. Some to everlasting life. Those are the ones that always believed in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Those are the ones that, they were always believing. They always, even if they didn't know the name, they always, kept that Most High. And if something bad happened, oh Lord. If something good happened, thank the Lord. So those are the ones, man. In the bad, they praise the Most High. In the good, they praise the Most High. They don't know him by name. But none of us, I didn't. I shouldn't say none of us. I would say the majority of us, they don't know him by name. It might be all. It is all. But I do know of cases where they went to the, but they lost it. They lost it. But they went to the Native Americans and they called them the Great Fire, the Great Spirit. They called them. Well, they were singing songs like so, but it wasn't Yahweh like that. But they had the name, man. Like they had it. They wrote Hebrew and stuff like that. But eventually they lost it. So I understand that. But yeah, I do understand that. All of us lost it at one point in time. It jumped up, sprinkled here, sprinkled there. But yeah, let me go on, man. So it says right here, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. They go, the Lord willing, I don't wake up to that one. But you're gonna have Jacob descendants that gonna wake up to everlasting shame, man. Damn, I can't believe I was against my own, man. And speaking of that, you have them Latin tribes, they hate each other too amongst them. Goddamn. Just like Judah and Benjamin and Levi. But those are house Negroes. I hate the guts out of this motherfucker. And I'm not used to that shit, man. You know? But the Latin tribes, they be hating each other too in the midst of each other. I'm like, damn, you have no reason to do. But then I understand this Yahweh Basham Yahshua. I understand that part, you know? But still, it's just funny, man. They straight up hating on each other too from with it. But it's understandable because it's in the scriptures. In the scriptures, it was first the northern tribe is first and the southern first is the southern tribe is. But then the northern tribes, they started to fight within themselves for power. They didn't want to be king, so they started murdering each other. And then you had in the beginning, and then you had tribe against, so the 10 tribes was fighting against each other. And then within the 10 tribes, like for example Simeon, within the Simeonites you also had the dividends going on in the midst of them. So, and then of course the thing that happened with Judah is the same thing. In the beginning it was then they together, and then Benjamin and Judah started fighting against each other, and then Judites in the midst of each other started fighting, and then Benjamite in the midst of each other started fighting. So now it was the tribe of Judah against the tribe of Benjamin, but within the tribe of Benjamin you also had Benjamites fighting each other, and within the tribe of Judah you also had Judites fighting each other. So now it's every fucking body, man. Everybody be fighting everybody, and that's mentioned in the book of let me get that, First Ezra. What was it again? What was it again? First Ezra. Pardon. Okay, I got it. So, First Ezra, chapter 2, verse 22. I started 21. But to speak unto our Lord the King, to the intent, it's kind of small, to the intent, if it be thy pleasure, it may be sought out in the books of thy fathers. Because he was talking to the Artaxerxes, which is Artaxerxes. It's Elam, the prince of Persia. King Persia. Or was it the Assyrian Empire? One of those two. Anyway, let me go on. So it says right here, verse 22. So First Ezra 2:22. Because he told the other kings, they told him, King, Lord, because he was king of kings. Artaxerxes was king of kings. The book of Ezra chapter 5 shows you that. It literally says he's the king of kings. And Nebuchadnezzar also was a king of kings. But anyway, so verse 22 it says, "And thou shalt find in the Chronicles what is written concerning these things, and shalt understand that that city was rebellious." They're talking about the city of Jacob. They're talking about that one. Right. So it says right here that that city was rebellious, troubling both kings and cities. So they was troubling other neighboring cities, and they was troubling kings from ruling over them because they was rebellious. Verse 23. And wait, let me wipe it again because the rain is still coming on my screen. Yeah, can't see shit. Okay, so First Ezra chapter 2, verse 23. "And that the Jews were rebellious and raised always wars therein. For the which cause even this city was made desolate." So let me read it again. First Ezra chapter 2, verse 23. "And that the Jews," so this is all documented. The heathen nations, they had documented chronicles of our beings, of our doings, of our mannerisms. These motherfuckers were studying us, man. And they knew, because in the book of Judith, they knew that if the Israelites, you had the Ephraimites join forces with them too, as mercenaries, joined the forces of the kingdom of Ashur, which are the Assyrians, right? They joined them too. But the Judites, they joined the Philistines, man. They sold out to them Philistines, oppressing their own, because they joined their military, and then the Philistines would tell them, go collect some money from them, tax collectors. And then the Judites would come, and then they would take the money from their fellow Judites as publicans, under the name of the Philistines. And also in the book of Judith chapter 6, the Ephraimites, they joined Assyrians, and then they were mercenaries for them, and then they would slap you around to collect money or something like that, taxes and stuff like that. Or they would just fight you because the king of Assyria said that. And you can also catch that in the book of Isaiah 36. Yeah, man. So you had that. It's funny because the northern tribes, they joined Ashur and Aram, and and the southern tribes, they joined Mizraim and Canaan. The Philistines are Mizraim also, but they joined them. It's funny as hell. People, birds of the same feather flock together. People love joining their lookalikes, or something that they want to model themselves after. They want to look like. Either they look like it or they want to look like it. But anyway, they will follow it. So First Ezra chapter 2, verse 23, "And that the Jews were rebellious and raised always wars therein. For the which cause even this city was made desolate." So because we was fighting each other, that's why we fell. And they documented that. They recorded that. So they knew. They knew, like, if these Jacob descendants, they would go to other gods and stuff like that, we could beat the shit out of them. And they did that. Esau is making use of that right now. He's taking that to his advantage by splitting us up and also keeping that split up. And you got bitch ass motherfuckers that be doing it themselves. They doing it themselves, man. So you can't even look at Esau no more, even though he's the goddamn devil. He's the cause. But they want to do it. They want to continue doing that shit, man. They want to tell their kids, don't be playing with those kids. Why? Not because they're criminals. Why? Because they look that way. I don't want you to hang around them, The darkness might spread on you. I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. Because it's funny, because I saw a skit. Dave Chappelle skit. But anyway. Verse 24. So First Ezra 2:24. So it says, "Wherefore now we do declare unto thee O Lord, the King, King Artaxerxes, which is Artaxerxes, that if this city be built again, the walls thereof set up anew, thou shalt from henceforth have no more passage into Seleucia and Phoenice, which was Canaan. Phoenice is Canaan, and Seleucia is Aram, right? Because they wanted that passage in order to make money. And for example, you have the Panama Canal. They need that passage in order for them to make money. Also, you have the Suez Canal. They need that passage in order for them to make money. They need certain roads in order for them to keep on making their money. And yeah, so he's telling them like, hey, if you let these Israelites get together, yeah, you can kiss your merchandise goodbye, because you're not gonna pass through their land, just like how Edom didn't want us to pass through their land, but they was just being devils, because we told them like, hey, we ain't gonna do nothing. But yeah, look, you have a thing going on right now with this guy Tyler Orivier. He's a goddamn devil. I hate this guy, but he has this documentary where he shows what these Amalekites are doing with the welfare fraud and stuff like that. He called the title something to Jew addicted to welfare. And they hate him for it. They hate his ass. But you see what they do. You know what I'm saying? They got like 10 kids. Got like 10 kids on welfare and stuff like that. But yeah, they scamming the shit out of me over there. Fuck it. I kind of forgot what the fuck I wanted to say because I kept on talking shit. Fuck it. Let me go back to where I was. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh yeah, I'm not filming you. Let's go, man. God, certain people are friendly with it, man. People think I'm filming them. Some, but some of them get aggressive. I've seen that a few times. They give you that look, like, remember. But the other ones are just friendly with it. They really think like I'm filming them. Like, no, I'm not filming you. And then we laugh about it, Oh, I thought you was filming me. Or they think I'm filming forward, but I'm not. Yeah, so some people, they get irritated. I get irritated too. But yeah, let me leave that. Back to the the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 3. And they that be wise shall, let me read through again. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awaken, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that join on to Esau, man. You got the northern tribes. They do that. Oh, sorry, I wanted to say the Judites. You got the North. I wanted to talk about North America. That's what I wanted to say. You got the North Americans do that, and you got the Southern tribes. Sorry, man. And you got the South Americans doing that. So North Americans do that, and South Americans do that. But you know what the funny thing is? What I always saw? I always saw this. North American, Jacob descendants, they have the upper body sports. And then the South Americans, Jacob descendants, they got that lower body sports. I always saw that. Because if you are in North America, the sports over there is more upper body. Basketball, rugby. They call it football, but it ain't. Whatever. Anyway, then you got the Southern tribes. Oh, sorry, the South America, where they have the lower body sports, which is soccer, which is the real football. And they got other type of things too, but they play with their feet. Capoeira, Jenga, Dinga, and stuff like that. But yeah, they got the point is, South America got the lower body sports, and then North America, they got the upper body sports, which is funny as hell because North America is the Southern tribers, and then South America is the Northern tribers. Crazy funny. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. But anyway, Daniel 12 and 4. No, 3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So you do have people. Look, I ain't trying to turn people. I'm trying to turn it, but I'm not. Look, I'm not. Look, let me give an example. You have certain people that come up in this truth only to get a status and rank, so they want to be teachers and stuff like that. Like, you gonna die for that, man. Like, for real. You shouldn't come up in this truth trying to get something. Always with your hand out trying to ask this stuff. You know? Got your hands out looking for stuff. You got something for me? Hmm? You want me to do the work? Give me something. Man, you need to do this stuff for free, man. That's the first mindset that you should have. Fear. Like, hey, I don't want to be destroyed, man. No. And then you hear about the glory, man. You hear about the spiritual powers. You hear about finally I get to have a real army type of mentality type thing. And then I'm go out there and I'm gonna hunt people. That should motivate you. That motivates me. I'm gonna snuff them out. You know? Because I'm surrounded by hatred. I can't wait to let loose. Heavenly Father willing, of course. Only then I will be able to get it. So once you hear that, man, the first thing that I heard, the Lord was a dark-skinned man and stuff like that. That already got me. But then I heard, the spiritual powers and stuff like that. We're gonna fight the nation. Oh man, I'm down. Fight the nations? Yeah, I'm ready. Man, I don't need to sign up. I'm signed up, man. Straight up in the spirit. Yeah. So, and then of course, I heard about the blessing, the things we're gonna get. And I was like, I don't need all that. Just let me get them. just let me get them. I chop them in body parts, man. I'll turn into a serial killer. Body parts and shit. Barbecue the shit out them too. I'm not eating it. Just barbecue. How about that? You'll set your ass on fire. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. We in that time right now, man. We in that time right now where you see that the breaches, they're being fixed up. But you have the other motherfuckers, man. It's irritating. But still, Yahweh desire he's fixing up the breaches, man. Because more and more Jacob descendants and stuff like that for the northern tribes, they're waking up and they're accepting this truth, man. And loose from the ones that believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that come back to this truth. You have a lot of them that they accept who they are, so-called blacks. They accept who they are. I know some light-skinned dudes, man. Boy, if you call them white boy, man, they gonna. We were younger. They're gonna punch in your fucking face, man. Whoop up. Don't call me white, bro. I'm not white. You know, they're not. That's what they say. But it says right here, Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So that's where we are right now, man. We're in the time of knowledge. We're in the time of waking up. We're in the time of understanding what's really going down. Why they hating? Come from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to punish us, man. He said, I will be a lion to Ephraim, and I will be a young lion to Judah. Yeah, man. Where is that? Let me get the last one. Where is that again? Hosea 5:14. So it says, for I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, saith Yahweh, and as a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I, will tear and go away. I will take away, and none shall rescue him. He ain't gonna be saved, man. Mosai is funny as hell, man. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, so the Most High said he will be as a lion toward Ephraim, right? And as a young lion toward Judah. So I gotta understand a lot of things, man. Like, I'm not down with it, but I understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it. That'll keep you from going crazy. Because I'm already a nutcase, so what I'm looking for, Jeremiah 4? Jeremiah 4? No, 9, I think. Jeremiah 9. Hey, what's that? What is it? I'm looking for a scripture where it says, taunt. I forgot the words, man. Jeremiah 24 and 9. I thought it was in 4. I thought it was in 9. It's 24 and 9. Jeremiah 24 9. And I will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Let me read it again. Sorry. Jeremiah 24 9. And I will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb, a taunt and a curse. Taunt is when you provoke someone with what you're doing or saying. And a curse in all places where the eye shall drive them. And then you have in the book of Jeremiah 30. Oh yeah, let me get the last one here. Jeremiah 31 and 20. Where the Most High said that he have never forgot Ephraim, even though he kicked him away. He said, I'm actually worried about him, man. So that shows you, like I said, when you read these scriptures, you understand a lot of things, You're looking at them like, what the fuck are y'all? I don't understand how you join forces with them. Look what they did to you. And them house niggas, I don't even want to talk to no house niggas. I'm trying to kill you. So, yeah, that's that shit. But anyway, I'm looking at them Latin tribes like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why you join forces with them? Anyway, Jeremiah 31:20. And is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. When you have that gut feeling, man, like a person that is, fear kicks in. You could feel it in your guts. Like, for example, a lot of people, when their children are in a hospital or accident, they say they feel it in their guts. It's fucked up. It's they can't eat. They can't eat. You can't eat no more because you feel something, man. It's some stress, pain, just mess up stuff, mess in your head. The worried, stress, pain, fear, all these things. So let me read it again. Jeremiah 31 and 20. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. That's what the Most High said, man. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, saith Yahweh. So there you have it, man. I could go on and on. I made a lot of videos about this, especially Hosea 5, Hosea 6, Hosea 9, Hosea 13, Jeremiah 31. That the 2 Kings chapter 17, that the Most High, he went hardcore on Ephraim. But in the end, I still bring it back to, in the end of the video, I brought it back like, I'm going to bring it back, I'm going to show you that, you're going to hurt him. But I'm going to bring it back toward that the Most High loved Ephraim, and he's going to remember him and bring him back into the fold, man. Because he's acting like a silly dove right now, throwing himself. Back in the days you had these puddle pools, well, you still have it today, but I mean, like, you had these things where they would Esau would put his jacket for the Edomite female to walk upon, and that's Ephraim doing that shit right now. He's laying himself on the floor ground where the mother's at, and he doesn't want Esau to get his little alligator boots dirty in the mud and the high heels of the Edomite female. So he lays down his body for them to walk up on them. House Negroes been doing that, so I ain't even gonna talk about that shit. But that's what they're doing, man. But yeah. But the Most High he's gonna make it to where, hey, motherfucker, get off me. I don't wanna do this shit no more. And then they're gonna seek after their King David. So they're gonna cling on to the house of Judah, not the house of David, but the tents of Judah, I should say. The Tabernacle of David. They're gonna cling on to that, to the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahusha, of course. And what's I saying here? Yeah. What's I saying? Shit. I wanted to say something. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, tribes are gonna be together. All we gotta do is wait. To the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahusha, we gotta do is wait. Like I see it here and there and here. Even the ones that don't know about this truth, you see them kind of clicking up, you be like, hey, I do see it. You know, but it's like the book of Tobit says. The book of Tobit, he said, like, all the good that I have done. Basically, I ain't getting props for that. With the small things that I mess up in, those are the ones that you talk about me for, man. Those are the ones that you remember me for. Which is kind of the truth, actually, because the Most High say it also that, for example, in the book of Ezekiel 18, all the good things that a man has done in his life, if he start doing bad things at the end of his life and then he dies in his sin, he died in his sin, which is correct. But yeah, you know, you might think like, hey, wait a minute, what are the good things he did? Yeah, that don't matter. So I do understand that, and with that, I also judge concerning now, for example, just because you see a big bulk of them hating, it doesn't mean you need to look at the other 10 tribes and stuff like that and be like, you know, because, you know, in the midst of them, you will have the other ones that will come toward the ones in America. They will come toward them. I'm not a part of them, but I'm still saying, I'm talking about in America. I'm not from there. I'm from South America. So I know what I'm talking about. But still, you will have a part of them coming toward the line of Judah. Eventually, the bloodline of David, the house of David, but collectively, the house of Judah. Right. So, yeah. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahusha, Bashem Adonai Kodash. Double honors unto the elder apostles at Great Millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. And shalom to the sensei Akim across the world. Shalom.